All right. Hello again, everyone. I'm ozmourn, and today we're going to be running Ape Out. And I'm just going to go straight into the run, and I'll kind of explain a bit more about what Ape Out is and how it's going to be, how we're going to be navigating this game. There's 4 albums total, and we're just going to go straight into the first one. And time will begin when I enter the first level. So 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So Ape Out is a game in which you play as an ape, surprisingly, if you could believe it. And you also have procedurally generated levels each and every time that you play, and these levels will also like regenerate if like you die. And so in this first level, we're just introduced to some like pretty basic enemies right here. Um, and you could technically have a time save right off the bat by avoiding enemies the entire level. Because you saw those title sequences only appeared if we pushed enemies and killed them. So technically, if you have like perfect RNG and the enemies are really kind to you, and you like trust yourself to take those risks, you don't like have to deal with those enemies at all. But generally speaking, that's next to impossible to do, just because of how this game works. Okay, so now we're gonna go straight into level two, or album one, level two, so 1, 2, and we're gonna go immediately into some new enemies, such as these blue vested guys who have shotguns. They weigh more and are generally a little bit more dangerous than the standard typical enemies in this game. And we also are introduced to the bomb guys. The bombers essentially have a bomb strapped to their chest, and they will immediately like explode if you push them into a wall or into another enemy, like so. So you want to be very careful because if you're in radius of their explosion, it'll kill you in one hit. Oh, come on. Okay. One important thing is trying to read seeds as much as you can. Um, Whenever there's a saying in Ape Out, and it's that if you lose time, it's not your fault because so much of this game is RNG. And so if you lose time, just blame it on the game and what the game gave you. And right there during those doors, you saw that I like let go of the door and then grabbed it again or to reopen it. It's because those doors work on ticks. There's 4 ticks to open it, but the 4 tick will always be delayed, and the way to get rid of that delay is just letting go of the door and then opening it again. Now we're going to go straight to album 1, 4. There's going to be a few new things we're going to introduce to here. We're not right off the bat. Instead, we're going to get like a really bad seed. Just because, ideally you want the seed to go straight, like in a straight line from left to right. But sometimes the game doesn't want to give you that. Okay. Now the alarms have been put off, and we have more enemies coming after us in this last level. But as long as you just charge through, you should be fine. Like so. Perfect. It's a pretty good album one, I will admit. Or album one, side A. Each album has 2 sides, side A and side B. That was side A of that one. Okay. And in these like intermission sections, you're already seeing that I'm also like walking backwards or walking sideways, I should say. That's because it's a strat known as butt sliding, in which if you walk at a very specific angle, the game like any like in this game in general, like when you get okay, that was really risky, but I did it anyway. When in this game in general, when you like walk against a wall, the game tends to push you away from the wall. And so if you walk at a very specific angle, those hallways just have enough length in them, just the right amount of width in which you can butt slide like this. So you get pushed away from the wall and also forward. And now we're in this in the dark section. And an interesting thing about the enemies in this in the dark section is that they tend to have faster reaction times if you're within their cone of light. But of course, you don't see you if you're not. Um, and sometimes that is just kind of annoying. Other times it doesn't really matter. because you tend to be next to an enemy before they even have the time to react to you anyway. But like in situations like that right there, it's kind of annoying. But yeah, some while this game does have procedurally generated levels, there are some particular obstacles that are hard coded in, and they'll always be there. For example, at the beginning of the In the Dark sections, you will always be pushed up or down, or this particular hallway will always be here to provide a transition from one area to the next. And now you can see that the music isn't starting yet. It'll only start if either I get hit or an enemy gets hit. I was hoping that we could go through the whole level without having the music start, because if you do manage to like go through an entire like album without killing anyone, you do get like a pacifist badge on your you get like a pacifist badge on your album cover. Like the enemies can kill each other, but like as long as you don't kill anyone, it's fine. Okay, bad RNG here with the seed we're given. It's fine, so long as we're not getting hit. If you get hit 3 times, that is when the game is like you're dead. And so you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Be very cognizant of where all the enemies are and how they're shooting at you. Another pretty bad seed for this particular level because there's a lot of up and down, which is not what we like. Okay, and this is the final hallway of album 1. Thankfully, there's not like a bomb guy in this hallway because they generally tend to be really, really mean to you. All right, that's the end of album 1. Now we're gonna go straight into album 2. So there is like a specific skip that we could do here, but I'm not gonna do it because it's not like friendly. It's not marathon friendly. Essentially, you can skip this cutscene the moment that you load into the level. There's a small little section of time which you can actually push that guy out of the window before the cutscene begins. As long as you like hold down the push button, which is the right bumper in this case. Um, like it's incredibly easy to do. Like it's really really easy. But like for whatever reason, if you do it, the game puts you in this like weird state where if you die within the first half of the level within side A, the game just soft locks and you have to like restart it. Um, or hard locks, I should say, and you have to like restart the whole thing. You don't have to restart the whole level. You can just restart from checkpoint, but like it's still like a little bit annoying, and a strat that I would generally not do in marathon runs. Oh, here we go. And there are these SWAT members. Um, they will always appear on floor 26, and the SWAT members are hard coded, and we also have dead ends in this level. This is like the first level to like really introduce dead ends, which is like annoying. From like a casual perspective, it does make the game harder, which I guess is the point. But like from a speedrunning perspective, it just makes it like unnecessarily harder, which is an annoying aspect in the speedrun, but something that is something that we have to deal with in the game. Ooh, oh, okay, we might die here, only just cause. Okay, never mind. We're not gonna die. I lied. We're not dying. Um, and so for the rest of this section, you really want to make sure that you want to try, of course, avoid dead ends. And I forgot to mention that we are also introduced to another character known as the Melvins. The Melvins are these green-haired little short guys who, if you run towards them, they'll run away from you. But if you run away from them, they'll run towards you and then shoot you. They're like mechanically one of the most annoying enemies in this game. Um, and but it does provide for an interesting experience. All right, floor 19. Oh, come on. We're close. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, that's the end of 3-3 or 2-3, and now we're gonna go straight into 2-4. And on floor 17, we want to actually go down to the building across from us. It's like an incomplete skyscraper, but with a wonderful music change, and enemies who are not being kind to me. All right, perfect. And with that, that is the end of side A. Now we're gonna go straight into side B with 2-5 Concrete Jungle. And in this new building, I forgot to also mention that there is another enemy that we introduced to, known as the shotgun enemies. Generally speaking, they're not that much of a threat. Um, Except right now, for some reason, I say they're not much of a threat, and yet they have been both of the reasons why I've been getting hit. Oh, and now we died. That's our first death of the run. Look at that. But thankfully, it happened like before the halfway point of this particular level, and so like we don't really have to worry about it. Um, we're gonna try and be more careful this next time around. But the snipers, they have very slow reaction times. Um, and but the issue is that they have a huge range, like they can shoot you from like across the room. And so that's like the give and take that enemy has. But generally speaking, if you can find cover, like any amount of cover, and um, you're able to walk up to them before they have enough time to charge up their shots, um, they are generally not that much of a threat. Now here at floor 9, we're gonna actually go back up to the building that we were at before. Oh my god. Hopefully, oh yeah, okay, here we died again. But again, it happened at the beginning of the section, so not too much of a time loss. Ooh, these enemies are not gonna be kind to me today, are they? Dang. Alright. We're getting like really bad RNG with these enemies. Oh, come on. Nope. Another dead end, unfortunate. But we deal with those as they come. Thankfully, that guy didn't shoot me. Okay, yep, we're getting some weird RNG here. Here we go. Trying to keep to the sides here. And there we go. Perfect. No need to panic, thankfully. Let's see how the RNG treats us in 2-7. Okay, not that bad so far. Decent. Decent, honestly. Okay, thankfully, every time that you see like a checkerboard room through like a wall or through like a window, you can immediately assume that that is a dead end because they always are. And yeah, that's the end of 2-7, which was a really good section. Now we have 2-8, which is fine up until the very last floor, because we have to go to the lobby, and the lobby is a wide open space, and the game is very unfriendly when it comes to wide open spaces. Okay. Ooh, okay, yep, yeah, exactly. Like the moment that you get into like a place like the lobby, it's like awful, because you want to like interact with the enemies and like not make sure that they don't shoot you. But the problem is that there's so many enemies and very little cover. So hopefully the game is a bit nicer to us in this next section, this next attempt of the lobby. The way you kind of mend the RNG that the lobby gives you is by oh my god, sticking to like the top or bottoms of the map. And by doing so, you're able to have a little bit more cover, and also the enemies generally are easier to deal with because you can just push them into walls. But yeah, that is the end of album 2. Now we're gonna go straight into album 3. Now we're in like a military base kind of thing. All right. So in this particular level, you tend to have a lot of enemies in groups, and generally speaking, those groups are led by one huge guy, one huge shotgun enemy. Whoa, what happened? Oh, the game just crashed. The game straight up just crashed. I've never had it crash there before. I haven't had it crash in like over a year. The game straight up just crashed. But we keep it going. There we go. Just go straight back into it. Not much else you can do. I've just never seen that before. Not there at least. The game has had a tendency to rarely crash in specific places. That was not one of them. But now we get to experience 3-1 again. And looks like the game is giving us much better RNG as an apology this time. Oh, yeah, that was really good RNG. Really, that was like perfect RNG, really. And so for this, for 3-2, we're introduced to another enemy known as the machine gun enemies. There are these smaller guys that kind of just spray and pray when it comes to their bullets and how they use them on you. They have horrible aim, but they just rapid fire a lot. And in this particular level, you want to kind of move upwards whenever you can, because the exit to this level specifically will always be on the top right of the map. Like so. 3-3, red alert. It's like one of the harder levels of album 3, or at least of side A of album 3. I would argue that all of side B is harder than this one. But the reason being is because you have a wide open space at the very center over here. And again, you want to mend that by sticking to the top or bottom of each like level. But even then, sometimes the game really doesn't like you. For example, like right now, that's a lot of enemies, but thankfully we didn't get hit by any of them. Oop, come on. All right, that was good. Decent 3-3. Now we're gonna go to 3-4, which is a bit of a shorter section. Doesn't have too much specific gimmicks going on with it, aside from the fact that the game turns into another in the dark sequence, like right now. Boom. Oh, oh, come on. There you go. All right, and the machine gun enemies are the only enemies that kind of like don't react faster in the dark, just because of how rapid fire their ammo is. But even then, sometimes they're a bit of a pain to deal with. Now we're gonna go straight into 3-5, the beginning of side B, and these enemies blocking the way. But now we're gonna be going outside the great outdoors. Another wide open space, but again keeps the top bombs of the map. And we're not also introduced to a new enemy known as the flamethrowers. They're like the easiest enemy in the game. They serve no threats to you as long as you keep moving. Um, and so they have very short range of their fire, and they move very slowly. So as long as you are able to keep moving through them, you generally should not get hit by them. However, sometimes getting hit by them can actually be beneficial because the enemies in this game do not like fire. They see fire as a huge threat to them, and so if you are on fire from a flamethrower, they will just immediately walk away from you and give you like a clear path through if there's like a huge group of them. Ooh, oh, there we go. Thank you. The bad thing about like album 3 side B is that they tend to give you like a lot of um, shotgun enemies, but they also come in groups, which can be like a good thing and a bad thing all at once. The bad thing being that, of course, you can get hit like really easily in quick succession, but the good thing being that um, that you can kind of just kill them all at once if they're grouped really close together. Okay, and right here in this section is like an oil spill, and so there's flamethrower enemies that you really don't want to deal with, and of course these enemies shot us. Um, that is probably like the most detrimental death so far, only because we got so far into the level, and we have to redo it. Unfortunate. And the thing is, like I mentioned earlier, if you die, like the seed, like it resets. So it's not you have like a new seed every time that you die. So it's not like you can like memorize what you did and like try to do it better. Okay, and now we are introduced to bombs. The bombs are on a timer the moment that they land. Oh my god, that was disgustingly bad RNG. Okay, so as I was saying, um, this level introduces bombs as part of the level, and they're obviously things that will kill you in one hit. Like I mentioned, explosions do kill you in one hit. And oop, oop, come on. All right, there we go. Perfect. And so the way that they land is completely RNG. They might land, ooh, like that. Like they're completely RNG, and they tend to land like in front of you, in places where you would rather they didn't. If an enemy shoots a bomb while you're next to it, it'll explode. If you push an enemy into a bomb, it'll explode. If a bomb lands on you, it'll explode, of course. And so just you want to be very careful in this level. All right, that is the end of album 3. And now we're going to the final level, album 4. I find it ironic even after all of this, this could theoretically still be sub 30, but I don't think it will be. Which is why estimate is 35. All right, perfect. Now we're gonna go straight into album 4, and we're getting introduced to a few new mechanics right off the bat. First of all, being the containers. The containers provide some cover. However, the issue with containers is that generally speaking, um, you. Ooh, okay. This is a rough 4-1, but we're gonna make it through. Um, the issue with containers is that generally speaking, when you push the doors to containers open, they like the animation of pushing it open loses time. You lose a bit of your momentum, and so while containers are great, they are just ever so slightly a time loss, if not like within direct line of your path. Um, and now we're in 4-2, in which the lights will turn on and off on random intervals. However, the issue with this particular in the dark section is that the enemies don't have flashlights, and so because of that, they will just start shooting in random directions when the lights turn off, assuming that they're shooting at you. And the good thing is that they might shoot other enemies. The bad thing is that they might shoot you. And the extra bad thing is that if you're next to a bomb enemy and they can shoot the bomb enemy, you're just going to die in one hit. Which I have had done happen before. It's much more likely than you think it would be. Okay, now we're gonna go into 4-3, which is a level that you don't think is gonna like be the any kind of run killer, but it actually ends up being a run killer because again you're in like close quarters, and the enemies also tend to come up in groups, which is generally, and they come at you from like different directions too, which is generally something that annoys people in the speedrun. It's a difficult thing, obviously. It's funny how like casually all of these things that annoy us, like they make sense casually and they enhance the experience casually, but when it comes to the speedrun, we're just like, dang, I wish this thing didn't happen. But that's part of the challenge, you know. That's the end of side A. That's the only level with only 3 levels. It's only a side with only 3 levels instead of 4. But this last section does have 4. And now we're gonna turn the hardest part of the game to the easiest part of the game by performing a glitch. The moment that you see those enemies on the other side of the screen, all you have to do is restart level, and you are now invincible. Not even joking. Like, you can see that these enemies are hitting me and I'm not bleeding, because that's like the sign that yeah, you see that should have killed me in one hit, but it didn't. So the reason that that works is because during that cutscene, when the enemies appear on the other side of the door, there is a scripted explosion that is supposed to happen. But the instead of making it like a special explosion that doesn't kill you, the developers decided to just give the player 99 health for like a few seconds, and then once the cutscene's over, it reverts back to 3 health. However, if you restart level when you have 99 health, you will keep the 99 health throughout the rest of the level. The rest of level up until the very last um, level, which is 3-7, because at that point there's a scene change and you lose your health. All right. Let's see if we can get through this whole section without. Oh, dang. Without people dying. I was hoping we could get through this whole section without the music starting. Oh, it's great music, though. Ooh, really poor RNG here. Ooh, absurdly poor RNG. My goodness. All right, now we're gonna go straight into 3-6 wrecked. And the good thing about this next section is that there's really not much to say other than like the introduction of a new enemy, um, which is the missile launchers. The missile launchers are meant to kill you in one hit because any explosion in this game does 10 damage. But since we have 99 health, they don't tend to do that. And another thing is that the strat that I told you about earlier, in which like you purposefully like get yourself on fire in order for enemies to like leave you alone, you can do that much more effectively in this level since you have essentially no repercussions for doing so. Um, and I know we say that the level that we have invincibility, and this is awful RNG by the way. I know that we say this is horrendous RNG. I know that we say we technically have invincibility, but you technically don't. So even if as long, don't be reckless because you can still die if you get all 99 health points down, which I have done before. And now we're in a zoo, and this is the final level, and we have an introduction to some friends, in which you can free them from their cages, and they will start attacking enemies for you. You do like it is like technically speaking like the smallest of time losses because you just have to like interrupt your straight line to get out of to get to like let these enemies out. Um, it's minuscule enough to where it doesn't really matter, but it's still a time loss nonetheless. Um, but sometimes you want to like free these enemies because the enemies will start attacking. Free the animals because the animals will start attacking enemies for you. And other times the animals will the enemies will start using the animals as targets except for you. We have tigers, we have bears, we have snakes, we have camels, we have cockroaches too in a zoo, surprisingly. And now we're gonna just finish the game. Timing ends when the piano kicks in and Ape Out appears on the screen. 3, 2, 1, time. Oh my god, why isn't timer pausing? Did I turn off hotkeys or something? Oh my god. Can you? What is going on? There we go. There we go. Perfect. But that's the end of Ape Out. Um, timing ended around 31 minutes and 43 seconds. But unfortunately, my controller kind of messed that up. But it's whatever. But yeah, that is Ape Out. I'm hoping that y'all enjoyed that. It's a really wonderful game, and a game that not a lot of people like know about, especially from a speedrunning perspective. So I'm hoping that at least one person kind of wanted to get into it. So yeah, that is all for Ape Out. We have a few more games coming up, and I will be right back after a brief intermission with them.